Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to FortressCraft Evolved. I'm AxionEvolved, and today, pardon the way I sound, I'm getting over some sickness, but we have so much to do that we're just going to hop right into it. And we're going to start right here. Crystals. Crystals, well, really, this setup right here is a problem. And the issue is that this one belt just isn't fast enough, right? And let me go show you why that's an issue. And that starts right here. A little something I've been working on in between episodes, right? You know, it's a little something, something here, a little something, something there. What are we making? That's right. Magnetic machine blocks. Chromed machine blocks. So, obviously, this is a very end game material. You know, I've got 1,000 of each. We're going to need so many more. But also, I'm using this guy right here, this distribution splitter. If you look at the bottom left, you'll see you can do a lot of stuff with this. This is a mod, obviously, and it's kind of nice because it sort of performs like if you've played Satisfactory, it sort of acts as a smart splitter. But basically, this is allowing me to take the imbued machine blocks that we're getting from this matter mover right here, and it'll split them 50-50, but it's got an overflow setting that will allow for overflow. So I'm using that for the time being, but let's look at over here, because this is a bottleneck. Where it looks like we're making low-grade steel bars, no problem. But what are we missing? Well, what do we got right here? Crystal clocks, right? And crystal clocks aren't a huge deal. I mean, they're coming in kind of slow, but over here, you know, we got the crystal overclocker, right? So, long story short, crystal is just not getting to there fast enough. And let's see. I tried to mess around a little bit. Let's take a look, right? I put a bunch of pipes in. Some of this stuff is doing fine. Like these are filled. But even with, you know, a single line coming in, it's not getting into this hopper fast enough, right? And this, if you remember, this is the hopper that is coming to us from over there. So what I want to try to do right now, and like I said, we got a lot of stuff going on. Oh, you see I got the molly, the chrome, that's all heading down that way right now. One of the things I want to try to accomplish is replacing this whole setup with a matter mover setup, because this is just too slow. There's kind of no way around it. So let's do something like this. Let's just kind of build ourselves a little platform here, right? Because we're going to have to break this line. And I'm going to have to take out all these belts, which is unfortunate. But, you know, it is what it is. And so we'll go that way. And I think, if I recall, like just one organic solar panel should be enough. But I'm thinking maybe I want to actually throw a battery on there, right? So if I do like that, and then that guy, maybe that'll be enough. So I need to go hook up the other side of this with the matter mover. And so let me figure out how I'm going to do that, replace all this stuff, and then I'll show you guys what I ended up doing. All right, so here's the remake here. I've got, you can see that's the power going down to the matter mover. That's shooting over to here, bouncing in there. And in there, I only go about 64 meters. And then it eventually hits 2 stacks of pipes, which come up over here. All right, so I have this getting fed by 2 pipes. And, oh wow, that's empty. Wow, that emptied out pretty quick. So that's going fairly fast, I think. We'll see if that can kind of help with the demand. One thing I am noticing, though, is the power situation on this matter mover. It's getting better. I just threw 5 solar panels on there, so we'll see how that gets going. But yeah, I mean, anything to kind of get stuff flowing better. And which, if we look over here, I mean, it's flowing, right? We are gonna need quite a few things, though. Okay, I mean, it looks like it's setting up the crystals fairly quick, right? Yeah, I mean, I think that's okay. There's obviously a couple things we can still do, right? We can get a bigger lift, you know. We can do a bunch of other stuff. We can get faster matter movers if we really like to. I could replace the whole thing with 2 lines of pipes. You know, just a lot of options. But getting more crystals never hurts. And in fact, we're actually gonna need it, right? So glad that's out of the way. And these magnetic machine blocks and the chrome machine blocks are very important, right? Because if we look, a lot of different things, right? All these filters from when we start doing the compressed gases, that's going to be huge, right? Because one of the main things we're working towards, geothermal power, right? And if you look here, so I can do 10 clicks, 10 times 5, that's only 50, right? So I'm going to need 1,500 blocks to make one generator. And this generator is only going to do, I don't know, 1,600 power per second unless we overclock it with the compressed freeze-on, which we need this stuff for, right? So we got a little bit of time to work on kind of getting this stuff built up. Obviously, it's not kind of going over there, and it's not building in bulk, so I come up here and check it periodically in order to kind of empty it out. But yeah, that's something we're going to keep an eye on. But there's also been a lot of work down the frozen factory, so let's look down there real quick. And so here's where a lot of stuff is going to go on today. And it has to do with these guys, right? We're going to completely redo this system. But did I mention, if you're enjoying this, scroll down and hit that subscribe button. I'm so close to 1,000 subs. I'm just trying to get to my goal. Help me out. It makes me feel good to see the number go up, right? So with that out of the way, let's get back to this. And this right here, this is kind of going to be the... I guess this is the limiting factor right now, right? So let's look at kind of how things are. A quick refresher, right? We're basically doing a single blast furnace to a single casting basin, and then that output is getting, in this case, matter moved. Over here, it's getting piped. But this is not, let's say, efficient, right? And on top of that, we need to start getting our defenses ready, right? So let's also look at what's going on right here. So you can see I've filled in all of these batteries right here, and they all have conduits going between them. Now, this is all getting fed by this one line right here coming from over there. That's obviously not sustainable, but in order to kind of really get this set up how I want, I need to get this casting kind of finished, right? I need to get this, if not finalized, then at least set up to function and be a little bit more expandable so that I can plan other things. Now, what is this over here, right? You guys know me and I love my prototypes, right? This is inspired by something in the comments, one of the comments on other videos about how a viewer set up their, I guess, blast furnace thing. And so it got me thinking about better ways to do that. And I came up with this. Or this is actually just a couple different configurations and options in one, right? So, what are we looking at, right? This bottom layer represents the casting basin, right? So we're going to use that as a base. Now, there's two things to consider really here, right? This takes no power. So, but it does have, and these mithril boxes represent the casting pipes, right? It does have 4 entrances for casting pipes. So I'm trying to think about the best way, right? Best way to get from these guys, which are the blast furnace stand-ins, right? Get from the blast furnaces to the casting basin. And one way is to just come straight out and in, which I think doesn't look bad, right? So this view is kind of simulating multiple instances of that. But if you look at the side, the width of it will increase by an extra block on each side, right? If we do that. And the width of the entire structure is something that we want to consider for reasons I'll talk about here in a second. But then the other side, this side is if I do kind of like an offset design, where where the pipes are essentially within the footprint of the larger structure. I don't know if it looks as good, you know, like it would kind of look something like this. I guess it could be fine, but it does give us the advantage of reducing the footprint, right? So one of the things, right, we need 2 faces, or I guess maybe only one. We'll probably just need 1 face, right? 1 face of the casting whole casting setup. You know, we're gonna have to put a hopper down and export into our lifts over there, right? So as I'm looking at this, right, this one is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 9 tiles wide with the interior, with the casting pipes within the footprint, right? So it'd be a 9 by 9 footprint. This one, if we do this side, makes it 11 by 11, right? So if I look over here, eventually this has the capacity, right? If I do something like that, right? This has the capacity for maybe 2 of those setups per ore. So I'm thinking I have to fit 2 either 9 by 9 or 11 by 11 squares in here. And they could offset, right? One could be closer, one can be farther. And I can repeat that over here. So like 2 for chrome, 2 for moly, right? But I'm leaning towards the interior one so that I can kind of plan things out, so I can lower the footprint, right? So yeah, so then we're thinking, okay, how am I going to get the ores into the blast furnaces, right? Well, that's where these hoppers down here. So you see there's this space right here, and I can kind of put these hoppers anywhere. In this case, I have them on this back face. But if we go through the quote-unquote blast furnaces here, you can see that I have them double piped into a pair of hoppers that shares a face with each blast furnace, right? So my thought process is that I can just do something like this and feed 2 blast furnaces with 1 hopper. And then, of course, up top, we have the Mark IV battery stand-in. And this would just have a conduit on top going to another battery going somewhere else, right? And I'm thinking about using this right here because I have plenty of room where I could kind of distribute power, right? So that's just kind of what I'm thinking. I think it could look kind of cool, but I'd have to do something where, like, let's see here. What can I use? I guess I could just use mithril box, right? That should be fine. In fact, I think now's the time. I'm just going to have to tear this all down. You know what? Let me do that real quick and give us a clean canvas for everything. All right, and now we look as if nothing was ever there. Okay, so let's build this hotbar again. Casting basin, blast furnace. Okay. So we need to think here. We need to consider. I'm going to want... Let me think. Let me think here. I'm going to want a face, right? So if we're going to do... Let's do this design. I like the way this one looks better, where they're coming out, but I want to have a smaller footprint, right? So we'll need a 9x9 square with a 5x5 in the middle. All right, let's think here. So if I want, let's say this is the face that's outputting to the elevator. I have a couple options, right? I can do this and then output this way, right? I could do something like that. And then 1, 2. So let's say this is hitting the middle, right, of the elevator. The next set of hoppers is right here, which means that if I'm doing... Here, I'm just going to remove this. If I'm doing another one somewhat behind it, I could put it like literally like right here and do the same thing. Okay, I think we're going to do this. Okay, so how much space is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I think 7 blocks is fine, right? So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we'll do a hopper, right? And the hopper is going to be on the outside face, which means that this will start right here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? That feels okay. Yeah. I think that's all right. Shoot, do I remember which one of these were? Molybdenum. Okay. All right, so let's get this built real quick. All right. So casting basin right there. I think I'm going to use a 2,000 slot hopper though. Right? And we'll do that. So then now, let's get some glass. So I have like a billion panes of glass. Okay. So then I'm going to use this to space out my blast furnace, right? And that should be right. So I should be able to do just like that. All right. Literally just come out. 1, 2, 3. Like so. All right. So now hopefully that's starting to make sense, right? Now, before I build the casting basins or the blast furnaces all the way up, actually, you know, I'll build that all the way up because I just won't build the battery yet. All right. And so here's what it's going to look like in all of its glory, right? Kind of cool. There'll be a battery up top. And, oh, this is very interesting. I can use the side of this for the battery face. Wasn't planning on that. Was planning on using in here, but hey, we're going to have to use what we can use, right? Okay, so now, yeah, so now I have to, what I'm considering right now is how am I going to get the ore into the casting basin, or into the blast furnaces, really, right? And my plan is to maybe come around the backside with matter movers, because I feel like matter movers kind of fit the theme of this whole project, right? So come into the backside with matter movers, and we'll kind of go from there, right? So that means the first ones I'm going to put right here and here. And then I'm going to put a 2,000 slot hopper right there and right here. The thought process is I'll have a pipe up, another pipe up, and then a pipe in. So it'll matter move into there and then get piped up. And then similarly, we'll just do this. We'll do that. Right? Yeah, there we go. Come up. And then kind of the same thing. All right. So just like that. And then we got to hook up the pipes, the casting pipes, right? So then we're going to want to come down like this. Oh, no, I'm lying. We're going to want to do it like this. I guess we're going this way. How did I do this? Oh, I straight up came out of the side face. Duh. Okay. Like this. Right? So that'll come down. We'll do that number. We'll go back to this. We'll go like the... How am I going to do this? Like this. And then like that. And then that'll be how it's hooked up, right? And so I'll just repeat that a couple more times. Okay, and then so there's how it'll all be hooked up, and it's all well within the range of the pipes. So then the only thing left to do would be to fill this in with a Mark IV battery. And I think I'm going to just do... I debated going deeper into it. You know, kind of almost having the whole battery be within the casting basin itself. Or within that block right there. But I think this will work fine, you know. I think this is not an issue. Okay, so that's the first one built. Yeah, that looks like pretty imposing. Now, there is an issue that we have to deal with. The elephant in the room, so to speak, right? And that is, what are we going to do for power, right? Because each of these takes... Here, let me just get these resources. Each of these takes 2,500 power per second. Now, for those of you who are good at math, that's 10,000 power per second for this whole contraption. We definitely don't have that right now. And I'm not sure that we're going to have it because at best, 2 turbines gives us 3,600. So we need, what, like 6 turbines per setup here. Which means like it would take every turbine we have right here to to get us going with the power. I think I have... Yeah, I can make 4 more turbines. And so part of what I'm thinking is about making a second layer right on top of this for more turbines, right? And then we'll just have these kind of like snake back up and kind of do their thing. Like that's easy enough. But I guess what I don't want to have to consider, or maybe it's not that big of a deal, and maybe I'm just kind of tripping for no reason, but I don't want to have to come out off to the side for the power from these. Like, I'd love to be able to go up and over and down, because the beams, I mean, you see what I did here, right? Maybe, I guess I didn't really show you all, but these all have conduits linking them, but there's glass in the middle, which doesn't affect the conduit, obviously. So I guess I could do that, but I'm trying to think about this in a very, let's say, long-term way. And I kind of want to use minimal amounts of batteries, right? And the max, I guess what does work out is that the max power transfer between the conduits is 10,000 power per second. So that's not an issue. I'm just, I'm a little concerned or puzzled on how I want to kind of get this all set up. How about this? I'm going to set up the other casting basin over here the exact same way. And then I'm also going to think about the power while I'm doing that. And then when I'm done, I'll bring you guys back and we'll kind of talk about whatever I decided. Okay, so here's what I've decided that I'm going to do. I just built this platform right here. I'm going to use this platform and build a set of matching 6 matching generators right above it on that platform. This guy right here, which is currently kind of powering all of this, I'm going to reroute this power to use this far left set of battery, or this battery here. This whole generator set, this C5 power, that's going to power the C5, the lifts, and the shaft power going down lower, right? That should be more, 3,600 power per second should be more than enough power for all that. these 3 batteries, and I'll actually do this right now. I'm going to link them with conduits, right? So I'm just going to do this. It's kind of stupid about like how close together they are, but it's kind of the only way to do it. Now, why am I choosing to do this way, right? Number one, this face being open will give me the ability to go vertical right here with the conduit, come over this way somewhere like up here-ish, and then above this and down, right? So the bottom sets of batteries are going to power this guy. The new sets of turbines that I'm going to build are going to come up, over, and then across this way somewhere and hit this, right? So 3 sets of turbines per whatever smelting stack, whatever we're going to call this thing, right? So I need to run to the surface real quick. Actually, let's take a look at some of this, right? So I'm going to let's do something like this, right? Because we still need to transport this fuel, right? So that needs to come all the way up here. And then the empties are going to have to come out. Which, that's no big deal. We'll do this, and we'll do that. Okay, let me go get the stuff for 2 more turbines, and then we'll come right back. And now we got these all hooked up. They're not plumbed up for fuel yet, but it's going to be the exact same process. Fuel's going to come up here. This is going to distribute. There's an exit line. And what's really nice about this is that the empties just line right up with the existing empties, right? So they'll all empty out, no problem. So, in fact, I'm going to build the batteries first. I'm going to build the batteries and get them all kind of plumbed up so that that's all done. And then we'll hook up the fuel and then we'll get moving. All right, all the conduits are linked. And now we just have to do a little bit of linkage here. And we should start to see everything kick on. Batteries start to fill up. And what's nice is it'll equalize in between all the batteries. So, yeah, it looks like they're going up. Do we have empties coming out? Empties should be flowing. Maybe. Everything looks to be facing the right way. Well, I guess I'll just assume that it's doing its job. Okay, so now comes the somewhat easier part, right? Now we just need to go. So again, I'm going to come off of this top face here. So we just need to go some arbitrary amount. Yeah, we'll go slightly below. So what is this? Let's go to 10, right? And yeah, that's plenty of room, right? So we'll build a battery here. Okay, and then now it's a matter of, well, I guess what's kind of nice is I can just use the windows to place everything, right? So that was 210. So if I come up 210 from here, and again, I'm going up so high purely to keep these conduit lines out of my way, honestly, to keep them from interfering with my movement, because they could do that pretty easily, and they're very painful. They can kill you, right? So that's purely why we're going high. Plus, the higher we are, the less the cryo will affect us. And if it affects us at all, to be honest. Alright, and so now I just need to get to some point over here. Maybe I'll just go right here. And we'll just kind of try to meet them in the middle. Right? And then I know. So that's the middle face, right? So that's the absolute middle. So these all need to go. And we'll do something like this. Right? And then we come down one. And what's nice is we can just get rid of that. Get rid of that face. Get rid of that face. And then it'll start being ready for conduits. So I'm going to... let me place these conduits real quick, and we should see stuff come to life. Alright, and then... so I've already connected everything else up. So this connection right here should start the linking process. And you'll see... you see the power flowing. Now, again, that beam is deadly, so do not want to be in there. But you can also see that this is starting to get power. And yeah, these are all powered up. So one thing I want to do for this beam specifically is I want to run glass down it, because this is a little too close to everything. You know what I mean? Like, I could very easily kill myself here. And we'll get this back face. Alright, so that should be good. But you see how quickly that battery filled up, right? And the upper part I'm not too concerned about. So I've kind of decided that this battery will just kind of be the like the administrative battery, right? Because not only are we going to need to power the C5, but the lifts and all that stuff, right? But we also need to power the like the matter movers and all that kind of stuff, right? Like the matter movers we're going to use to get power to over here to get all the stuff into this area, right? And one of the things I'm realizing too is that we're not going to have any power going into these guys. So maybe that's a candidate for the first geothermal. I do have some Lancers, right? Got 17 Lancers. And if we look here, the cryo, well, if we can, here, I gotta turn my light off. We can kind of see here, right? So the cryo is getting ever closer, but we're still, you know, we still got some space here. Kind of a cool layout, though. But yeah, it looks like that one wall is still our worst area, which honestly is why I prioritize getting that set up. What I'm thinking is maybe for starters, just doing one Lancer in the middle. But eventually I'll do them like in the corners, the bottom face, the top face. It all depends on how much the cryo comes. Because again, it's only advanced about 2 blocks in, 3 blocks in. Yeah, it's like 3 blocks in. So we're okay for now. And with all this glass, there's no way this power will get interrupted. So we're gonna be fine there. But I feel like once we start doing the compressed gas and all that kind of stuff, then we're really gonna start feeling the crowd come in. Unless the trivial mob setting has done something that I don't know about, which is completely possible. So, all right, let me get this one set up, and then we'll meet back here. All right, and then here's the last one for this. We see all the transfers going, power getting over there, power flowing quick. But I mean, those are filled up, so that should be going pretty quick. Yeah, and these guys will just be moving the whole time. No big deal. Okay, perfect. So now, and this will probably be the last thing, and by probably I mean this is going to be the last thing we do this episode. I want to get the ores over to here. And we're presented with a few, let's say, challenges, right? Number one, if we are going to use matter movers, we have to power them. Number two, if we are going to use matter movers, we need to elevate. We need to get up to this height, right? We need to go up 3 blocks. So, how are we going to do that? These are all set to share, yeah? Sharing on. All right, so the molly needs to go to this and the chrome here. So molly here, chrome here. So I think we should do the molly. And I think I'm going to do it like this, right? So we'll do something like this. So I want to get myself somewhat close to the outside here, but not so close that I can't maneuver. So what is this? This is like a 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 5 blocks is fine, right? We'll do something like this, something like this. All right, so after this long, laborious process, I redid things a little bit. I mean, you can kind of see, I just kind of made it cleaner. I utilized hoppers and pipes. So I think pipes have 150 item per minute transfer limit as well. So I guess hypothetically, if it really comes down to it, and if our power network isn't able to really hold on to everything, we could just switch it all to mass pipes, right? That's not undoable, honestly. Is this thing not going? What's going on here? So what's wrong? You just like don't see something? Matter minded 3 items. I mean, it's got power, right? I just gotta put it on again. Sometimes it just doesn't like things. Are you facing the right way? Yeah, I think you are. So I also kind of obviously, like, I made the belts or this whole thing just a little bit cleaner. I redid this power so that we're using the chrome lenses. So that's 1600 power per second, and then it splits off into exceptional organic lenses. I think that's going to be okay. I mean, it looks like the power is fine. Are you not? You have no lens? Well, that just won't do. Yeah, so making sure everything's all lensed up and transmitting. It looks like the power is, you know, it's struggling a little bit because these are it's an expensive way to do things. So you have it. I think you're just... Why have you not gone? Are you... Is that too far? Oh, no, there it goes. Okay, maybe it was just a power issue. I don't know. But things are going. Things are outputting. But yeah, I think we're going to call it an episode here. Like I said, a lot done. I'm going to monitor this in between episodes. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to kind of keep track and save up the materials, but I think we need to start planning out the compressed gas and the defense. So I'm going to be making some lancers. I have to put a geothermal power down somewhere, and you know, maybe that'll be the next episode, is geothermal, and I want to put it somewhere where we can easily tie into our defense here. Anyway, guys, that's all for today. Hope you guys enjoy this massive building episode. I'm getting pretty excited because one of the other things I've been thinking about doing is, you know, you can use trenchers for other ores. So part of me thinks it'd be kind of cool to have like a bunch of trenchers that we use for other deposits, but I don't know. It's all, you know, once we get through Frozen Factory, we'll kind of see, right? But anyway, thank you all so much. Hope you're enjoying it, and we'll see you in the next one.